Hey everyone, it's baze.djunkiii transmitting from Hamburg, Germany, back with a new video. And yes, we have to talk about the Brexit, although I think everyone and their mother has made a statement on that. But I feel I have to make a statement on that too, because I have, well, a few hours before they finished counting all the votes, I have been going to sleep and I tweeted out, like, well, I wouldn't be surprised if I woke up and Brexit happened. And, well, actually it did happen, and the majority was very thin, kind of, I guess, 51.8% for Brexit and like 48 and a bit percent against Brexit. And yeah, it has come to a point where I think one point that has not been covered in the media so far has to be spoken about, I guess. And before I do that, I just want to make clear where I'm coming from in this video, because I'm not a guy that follows any kind of political agenda. Neither left-wing and neither right-wing, because I think what is more important than like political agendas and supporting parties and stuff is logic. And logic is a thing that has been, well, less and less important in politics. That's just a feeling, but when I look at things happening, people don't think anymore, but they just react and do whatever they want, kind of. And I think a government and politicians should like represent the people that they have been voted by, and this doesn't happen that often in Europe, in Germany, specifically in Germany, and in other countries as well, seemingly anymore. So there's a series of events that have been happening in the past month, which is, well, Brexit, they're the most recent, and then we have the elections in Austria, where it was about which political party. There are two big ones. The one is more like conservative right-wing, I'd say, and one is more like the socialist left-wing party. Which party should like put their chancellor or main minister or prime minister or whatever into the position he's in. And this was a election that was pretty thin as well, so similar to what happened with the Brexit. And also a few months prior to that, we had some county votings in Germany where the AfD, the right-wing party, like rose to up to 24% in certain regions of Germany. And this is a series of events I see as connected to each other, kind of. And what I think is that not only the German like elections, but also the British referendum and also the elections in Austria have been highly influenced by German politics, in a way that Germany, as one of the leading economies in the European Union, has taken on a kind of leadership in this group of nations, in this group of countries. And our Chancellor Merkel has been doing some decisions or making some decisions that are not supported by the majority of people who have voted her, and also not supported by a lot of people that are like part of the European Union. So steering this union into a direction that people don't want might have influenced the way how people perceive the idea of a united Europe and of a group of nations that are working together under like one like currency, like the euro, and also under a kind of meta government like the European government installed in Brussels, which people have seen like a few years prior to now as a place where people like are forbidding light bulbs, which is ridiculous in my opinion, or like taking care of how asymmetrical and how long and how thick a cucumber can or is allowed to be sold in a stationary supermarket and stuff like that. So this is a way people have been seeing Europe for quite a while in Germany, and I think also in other countries, also in Great Britain and in the UK actually. But now, after a few years of financial crisis, talking like the Euro bailout fund for Greece and also some other countries, where the rich economies are forced to pump a lot of money into like weaker economic regions just to prevent them from going bankrupt and stuff, which is one thing people are not really fond of, I guess. While Germany is relatively rich and the people here are relatively wealthy seen in comparison to other European countries, but still also in the UK there are regions that need money and stuff, and where like unemployment rates are high, and so people have been at that point where the financial crisis hit Greece and where we had to like get our money over there and like to deny their debts and stuff. This is a point where people start to perceive the European Union differently. In these times, Germany has taken on a pretty big leadership in also putting pressure on Greece to get their stuff together and like to work out a way to raise money to get out of debt and stuff. But this was the starting point, and then came the like refugee crisis, as they call it in Germany, where Chancellor Merkel opened the borders for everyone for a while and for every asylum seeker. And in Germany, it's like you have to match certain criteria to be granted asylum, and if you don't, you are regularly like you are sent back to your home country. But there is a lot of trouble because people are like they're destroying their passports, for example, or even if they have one, their home countries are not taking those refugees back and stuff. So opening the doors for everyone for a while as a leading European nation, and then agreeing on a kind of deal with Turkey, with a also like autocratic, unstable country, which applies to be a member of the European Union for years, but doesn't match any kind of democratic or like free press criteria and stuff. And also this deal was like forced and like pioneered by Germany, for example, has changed not only the way people see Germany as a nation, which I'm not really attached to, because for me the idea of a nation or even Europe as a place where I live doesn't apply. I'm born here by chance, but that doesn't mean anything to me, so I don't see the German flag as something special or something like that. I'm more a part of a global community, and like with people I talk to and friends and connections all over the world, so it's more like I'm more like a global citizen, I guess. Just saying, just to make my point clear again. But the perception of Europe has been changing, not only caused by a specific way of Germany acting within the European Union as a kind of leading nation, but it's that the view of Germany has changed, and also the view of Europe has changed. And this is what has caused, in my opinion, not the majority of people voting like the UK out, but maybe the deciding 2 or 3% of people that are maybe not that educated and maybe not that like seeing more of the big picture what Europe could be, but only if only like 5% of the people who have voted have been influenced by that German politics in the past like 12 months, especially, where the European idea has been attacked as not working anymore, and also the idea of Schengen as a region, like a region of European countries where you can travel as a European citizen, where you can travel freely without border control and stuff, which has not been working. And apparently like people have building walls or fences at their at their borders again, just to handle the refugee crisis and stuff, which once again, like, a lot of countries see the German, we are opening our borders for a certain amount of time, have been criticizing this decision made by Chancellor Merkel and her government as an invitation towards refugees to come to Europe. It wasn't meant like that, maybe. It was, as Chancellor Merkel put it, was an act of humanity. That's what she said, actually. But still, a lot of people were like, okay, you invited the people to come to Europe and come to your country, but we're not agreeing with that, so we are building fences and stuff. And also the Brits are not that in danger of being run over by people, if you want to put it drastically, because there is the Channel, and there's a canal and stuff, and a lot of water between them and Central Europe. People have begun to think differently about the European idea, and this has been, I think, a main cause for people to vote out of Europe. For a lot of people, maybe, but for a certain percentage of people, so they just want to be a independent nation again, and a nation that can decide by itself what to do and what not, without being influenced or maybe even put under pressure by a kind of meta government and meta organization that sits in Brussels and usually is making abstract decisions and stuff. So this is a thing that hasn't been covered in media, and I'm not any fan of any kind of conspiracy theory stuff that is happening somewhere. So for me, it's just a row and a series of events that proves the same kind of, that people are disagreeing and are highly disagreeing with what their governments do. And this is a point that makes me think about how, no matter which my standpoint is, or my viewpoint is, and my perspective is, if I would have voted out or not, because I don't think that's a clever idea to have voted out, but I can see where these people are coming from that have, kind of, and I think this has been caused by, or it has at least been caused by some decisions also made in Germany. And I think if Chancellor Merkel is leaving her position maybe in 2 years after 3 periods and not running for a fourth one, for the 16 years of being German Chancellor, what she will take home is an award for having started a process of a decaying Europe, I guess. And this is quite an interesting idea, and I'm not sure if I'd be in her position, if I'm gonna would be so happy about this. That's a sign that politicians should take care of what their voters think, and should listen to the people more and interact more with what the people want. And it's not build fences everywhere and get everyone who's not from your country out, because it's bullshit. Doesn't make any sense. But it's more a point where politics have become more abstract, and this is the reason why people that are come from a populistic background, where people raise because they have simple answers. That happened in Hamburg quite a few years ago, where there was a party, I forgot the name, but the main guy was called Schill. He was a judge in Hamburg, and they came from a pretty right-wing side of the spectrum. And he was going out on the streets, and he was presenting simple answers, and he was talking to the people in a way that even people with a lower education could understand. and they were like, okay, that's a guy that talks to us in a way that we can understand, so we can comprehend what he kind of wants, and that's why we're voting him. And that guy was getting like in the Hamburg elections, the Hamburg County elections, was getting like 19% of all people. So this is if politicians don't talk that abstract anymore from any kind of party, and if they make sure that people understand why they are deciding things in a way they decide, and if they are like getting closer to the whole population and stuff, this is a thing that could help to make people happier with politics again, and also with the German party AfD. I don't think that any people, or that a lot of people who've been voting them are really right-wing or Nazi-like, but I think they've been voting them just to make a statement that they are not like agreeing with those people they have voted in the past anymore. And that's a problem, and that's a problem we all gotta solve. And we'll see how things go for Europe and for the world right now, and for world economy and stuff, because the pound sterling is going down, and some other countries are thinking about like going Brexit or whatever, and maybe the big red that people want to like ignore the referendum in the UK and stay in the EU. Maybe they have been like getting 1 million signatures, and people like pledging for staying in the EU within a 24 or 48 hours at the point where we're standing right now. And we'll see how that goes, but maybe it's the beginning of an end, or the end of a beginning. I don't know how to put that, but there is something wrong in Europe and the world, and also something wrong with how the German politics influence foreign politics in a way that it leads to a point where a established union, I guess the UK was a member of the European Union for 43 years now, is starting to break up. So German politics and politicians have to rethink what they do, I guess. And yeah, this is a point that I haven't seen covered in the media so far, so I'm just getting that out there without any like political intention from my point, but also more with an intention to spark a discussion around that. And I'm curious how you see things, and I'm prepared for a kind of shitstorm. So keep things coming. I'm looking at my comments, and I'm gonna reply to them as soon as I can. And I hope to see you in the next video, and the next video will be more music related, I guess, and I'm looking forward to read your comments and stuff. Follow me on social media, give me a thumbs up, follow this channel, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. See you later.